Hey guys, how's everything going? This is JSer. It's been a while since my last video. In the previous videos, I've covered the animation series, CSS rules, a bunch of them, and today it should be the annotation. So when I opened this document, I've seen a lot of font related CSS rules that I never seen before. All new to me actually. So yeah, especially for this font variant stuff. Actually, it's very deep topic. So in this video, actually, I'm not gonna uh, dive into the CSS rules one by one. But first, to give a brief introduction about what the variable font is. So this is a document from BFE.dev. It's clearly very advanced, I think. This document is from August this year. Wow, I think BFE.dev is a very cool website to learn. All right, a lot of resources there. So let's begin. Generally speaking, the font has two kinds. Right, there are two kinds of fonts. Which first one is a static, which is usually being used nowadays. Another one is advanced one is the a variable font. But luckily, I think the major okay, can I use variable font? Variable font. Oh, you see, IE could be ignored. All the major browsers support variable font, so there's no problem using them. So, okay, there's no compatibility problems. Static font, yeah, it means that we have to design the font, the UI no the graphic, the style for each like this thin italic, light italic. So the font designers need to I don't know, draw the points for drawing the dots for all the styles, right? So if you change a style, actually there was another glyph. There's another template, I think, pointing to that. So for these styles, there will be 3, 6, 9, 12 styles for that. While variable font has a different approach, actually. So for styles like this, this is 10 styles with a different weight. Actually, the variable font internally has a, I think it's animation stuff like we talked about before. So it's transition from this one. This is the thinnest to the boldest, right? With a dot, with the joint, with the joints being the same. The font tells the browsers how it could transit to this style to this style. So rather than 10 styles, 10 discrete styles designed separately, we have only one skeleton and the start and the end. And we can have more than 10, right? We can have hundreds, thousands even. So this is the basic idea. So there are not a lot of explanation here. Let's just jump into how we can create a variable font, and you will know what it is. So when we draw a compatible glyph, you see we have the same dot, right? Same joint. How should I call this one? Outline, components, anchors. Oh, anchors, yeah. So for letter A, we have these components, these anchors, and we draw the start and draw the end, and we just keep the anchors the same. And then we define the numbers for this weight, like 200 to 400, and the browsers, okay, suppose this is 200, this is 400, and when we define a 300 in CSS, the browsers will just choose the intermediate state, right? They'll just do some calculations and get the right style. So in my understanding, it's actually it's sort of like drawing vector images with SVG, right? When we are altering the sizes of SVG, it will not broke, so it's continuous, right? But if you use another image format, they have like JPEG. If you zoom in or zoom out, it's gonna be blurry. So this is my understanding about variable font. It might be not that accurate, but anyway, hope it helps. So this is a variable font. This is a demo. We can alter the weight and the width continuously, right? So, but we only have one set of the anchors. Well, that's pretty cool. So, okay. So when we are choosing the different styles, we need to specific what kind of style we want to alter, right? For this variable font, there will be weight or width. So these kind of width and width are called the axis. And there will be some ranges for each axis, and we can choose the exact point. Let's take a look at another illustration here. This is a three-dimensional space. So this is the default. I would say the skeleton, and we have three axes, right? This should be the width, and this is the weight. You see the letter. This is much wider than this one, but this one has the same structure, but it has weight, right? Different weight. And this is, I think it should be optical size. I don't know. Okay, so this is three axes. Now when we want to choose, so this actually gives us a lot of combinations, right? Like we just choose the coordinate and it will give us the right typeface. So when we want to choose someone, we need to choose the numbers between each axis. That's what here it is. Okay, width and weight, and there are five actually. The common axis is weight. Where is it? There are five default axes. The regular axis is italics. Oh yeah, weight, width, slant, italics, and optical size. These five, and these are the axis. Okay, and before that, we dive into the italics. For some font, the italics have, so for the font like this, rather than the continuous data, they have totally different structures, right? You'll see that if I use this a normal one, you'd have more anchors than the italic version. So for the italics axis, it might be discrete, which means it has only on-off. There will be no continuous values. So the variable fonts are able to support a continuous range for each axis, but you don't need to implement all of them. You can choose the discrete ones. Okay, there are five axes: weight, width, slant, optic size, and italics. Okay, how could we use the variable font? We just use like a normal web font. So this format stuff just tells the browsers that if we don't support it, what should we do, right? If we support it, we use it. If we don't support it, we do what? Like this. And the style ranges. Okay, so this font weight and font stretch means that this font tells the browsers that what the range is for the font we use. Okay, so we are using Google Fonts. It will be taken care of. Cool. You see that for font weight, we usually use like 100 to 900, right? Or use bold or bolder stuff. But now with variable font, we could use any numbers we want because it's continuous. Like we could use 125. It's pretty awesome. And the font stretch, yeah, we could choose. It's pretty awesome. Italics and Obliques. Slant, actually, this is slant. Slant means you can choose like some stage between the italics, I think, but italics might have the different glyph. But obliques with slant is different. It's totally just altering the same glyph. Optical size, it's a very deep topic. Actually, I don't understand it very well, but it generally is that if we just for a typeface like this, if we just enlarge it with bigger font size, it actually is not that readable. So what they want, so the browser actually thinks like this. If it is smaller, like 12 pixel, if we use thin strokes, it's actually hard to read, right? It's hard to read the outline. So the browsers will try to make it bigger, but with the same font size. If we choose a bigger one, if we still use that large stroke, it will gonna be so big, so it's a waste of ink, right? So for a larger font size, it actually use a thinner stroke, but with the same font size. I mean, you see from the smaller font size to the bigger one, the strokes become thinner and thinner. So this is called font optical sizing. It's auto, so usually I don't think we need to change it. But if you want to say, okay, we don't need your algorithms, we just want to specify which font size we want to use, you can use this optical sizing with specific number. Okay, rather than the 5 axes here, we have some custom axes for specific fonts. Like a Roboto Flex has a grade range, which means this. Grade range means the strokes, actually. Yeah, you see the strokes become a thinner or border, but the size and the space doesn't change, right? It actually doesn't trigger or reflex. So for these kind of custom stuff, you need to refer to the document of the specific font. Okay. Another one is font variation settings. Oh, we will talk about this while we are diving into the CSS references on MDN. But remember that font variation setting is a very low level CSS rule, and we define we set the value by this with the key and the value. Key value, but the key must be referenced to the font document. Yeah, the CSS doesn't know what they are. This is low level, so there are several other alternative CSS rules for the common ones. Okay, remember that this one is not, we will just overwrite if we define them differently. So if you have multiple one, we need to define all of them to enable them. Okay, performance gains. Well, obviously, if we use a lot of font faces, and with a static font, it's gonna waste of bandwidth, right? Now we have this SVG. It would be very cool. We just do some calculations. But there are actually some performance concern. It depends. Yeah, it depends actually. Generally, I think if you don't use that much of font face, a static one is a good enough, I think, because although we have a lot of numerous numbers between the range, but actually I don't need them, right? If you don't need them, you don't need to use them. So this is the basic rule. Okay. If you use Google Fonts, you can choose what range you want. Actually, this is documented here. Okay, for the Google Fonts, we can choose the styles or axis. This and these request both regular and bold because we where is it? To request both regular and bold, you would simply update the family call to weight 400 and 700 and add the weight axis. Yeah, please, yeah, refer to the document on Google Font API. Fallback, we can use the detection, feature detect with a support. If it supports font variation settings, which means that browsers support the variable font, and we could check set font roboto with the variable font. If not, we use the regular static one. And there are some very fancy usage. I'd like to take a look at this animation stuff. Okay, so this kind of little animations we're going to use. We could use SVG animations, right? We could use Lottie stuff, but actually, okay, this one we can use font with variable font. It's super cool. Let's see what it is. Okay, use. You see, it actually has a custom ax called time. This is 1, and this is 100, and yeah. So the glyph here with 3 bar hamburger bar transits to these icons continuously. So here is a question. For a hamburger bar to transit to this one, obviously we have 3 straight lines, right? So the middle one being the same and the other one just do some transformation. We could do this with CSS easily, actually. And what happens to this one? There's only 2 strokes. Well, we could see that actually here, when time 27, the middle one is gone, right? Has vanished, and only 2 strokes are left. We could write this in DOM with CSS. We could use SVG. And now we could wrap all the SVG stuff into this variable font. Now let's take a look. So the character is A with font variation setting with time 1. If we change it to 100, wow, it's gonna be a cross. Isn't that cool? Well, it's super cool. Yeah, it's really, really cool. Performance? I don't know. maybe better. Anyway, so this is what we can do to we can take advantage of this variable font. So okay, to wrap up, remember, rather comparing to the static font, the variable font actually is similar to SVG. It actually creates a transition animation, and with the start and with the end, and ask the browser to render a specific style automatically. So that's what variable font is. Okay, that's all for this video. Hope it helps. In next videos, I'm going to dive into each CSS rules on MDN. Okay, stay tuned. Bye bye.